So let's have a look at the Mini Moog's filter bank. The best filter there is. Nice simple filter, not doing anything spectacular. Let's have a look at it. So the cutoff frequency is the frequency at which stuff above it is going to get cut away. The higher we make it, the more sound gets through. And if we turn it all the way down, nothing gets through. That wow you're hearing is the filter increasing the cutoff frequency for a period of time and then decreasing it back again until it gets back to zero. So that's why for that brief moment at the beginning of the sound you are hearing some sound. That in turn is controlled by this envelope here. The attack time is how long it takes to get to the highest point of the frequency range that it's going to allow through. Then the decay time is where it's coming, the time that it takes to come back down to the point where it's going to settle at the sustain level. If we're at 0 and we set the cutoff frequency to 0, I'm pressing a note, and eventually it gets to the stage where there's no sound getting through because the cutoff frequency is at 0, the sustain level is at 0, so the only time we're hearing any sound is when the attack time and the decay time are applying a movable filter. Really, it's temporarily allowing some sound through, and then it's trimming the frequency range back down again so that nothing gets through. If I turn the sustain level up a little bit, increase the cutoff frequency. Now as I hold the key down, sound is getting through. There's always some tone getting through the filter. If I turn the sustain up a little bit, you're hearing more tones as it increases that shelf to allow more sound through. So the combination of the cutoff frequency with the sustain level determine the end result of you holding a note down and getting through the attack time and the decay time to the point where the sustain level takes over, and this is what you're hearing. If I make the attack time longer, let's say 2 seconds, so that is the 2 seconds, then listen what happens after. It quickly falls away. That is a 360 millisecond decay time. It takes 2 seconds to get to its highest point, 360 milliseconds to come back down, and then it settles at whatever level this knob is set to. Set the decay time to 2 seconds. I'm going to go up, down, and then settle. Okay. The amount that this envelope has an effect on the filter at all is set by this amount of contour knob. So if I turn that all the way down, these three, the ADS, the attack, decay, sustain of the filter, are having no effect. If I turn this knob up to maximum, the filter is still taking 2 seconds to get to the maximum, 2 seconds to get back down to the sustain level, and then it has a sustain level, but the drama that's imposed on the sound by that filter is at its maximum, and we can control how dramatic that envelope application to the filter is. The filter emphasis is known as resonance or Q in many other environments, and that's the intensity with which the the change around the cutoff frequency will be applied. So that's at 12 o'clock. If I increase this emphasis, it's going to be much more intense. Go even higher. So now it's going crazy over that frequency, over that center point around which the frequency is being modulated. Let's turn this up a little bit. Okay, get some truly wonderful sounds by playing with these three knobs up here. Let's go back to a more classic filter sound. Turn the attack time down a little bit. Go to about 500. Decay time 300. You can see the height of the nipple that's being, the peak that's being generated by the filter is being controlled by this emphasis. Finally, we have these two keyboard control buttons, and this specifies the amount of key follow that's applied to the filter. In other words, how much change is applied to the filter envelope and the emphasis, depending on where you play on the keyboard. So at the moment, with both of these switches off, there is no key follow applied. So a note played down here has the same filter envelope shape applied everywhere on the keyboard. If I turn both buttons on, then key tracking is complete. So at the low notes, a completely different envelope shape is applied. See how intense that was. The higher we go up the keyboard, the more closely, in fact, it's a one-to-one relationship. The filter is being is directly following the keyboard. So every note that I play higher is having a more dramatic filter application. And the two settings in between. So if we just have the first button on, then it applies a major third per octave key follow to the filter setting. We turn that one off and this one on, it applies a perfect fifth. So it's how dramatic. Turn this one on. It'd help if we had a slightly less dramatic emphasis. Both off. Thirds. Both on. Different flavours of filter, play with them all, see what you like. And that's the Mini Moog's filter bank. Thanks very much for watching, see you next time.